Hey there, everybody. PTPOP here, and it is almost 11 o'clock on Wednesday evening. I think it's May 27th, 2025. And has anybody noticed that people aren't quite, they're not acting normal anymore? It's almost as if one day I woke up and everybody was fine. Everyone was great, you know. I went to bed that night. I woke up the next morning and everybody seemed a little bit off. And I can't quite put my finger on it. I can't quite pinpoint what happened. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if there's something on the internet that's changing everybody's brain. And it's across all people. It's not just, you know, it's not just one type of person, one age, one race. It seems like everybody is kind of a little bit off, kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like something came in during the night and took over their body, took over their minds, and now there's something else. And I've been trying to figure out what exactly it is. And I'm perplexed by it. I'm very perplexed by it. And I give you some examples here. Hold on a second. Maybe I'll turn on some lights in here. I'm a night dweller. I like to sit in the dark of my living room and talk. It's not really the best thing for everybody to watch. So let me see what I can find here. Hold on a second. I'll turn on some lights. There we go. So I'm a night dweller. I like to sit up late at night. I've done this since I was a kid. There was a TV show, monster movie host TV show when I was a kid called Big Chuck and Little John, or Big Chuck and Houlihan. And they were on at 11:30 on Friday nights, and they went to 1 in the morning and played monster movies. And after that, in the late 70s, on the channel that they were on, Channel 8, there was 8 Up All Night, where they would play all of these crazy movies, war movies or other monster movies. And I would stay up to 3, 4 in the morning in the summertime on a Friday night. But anyway, so I'll give you an example. I've got a friend that I've known for 40 years. 40 years I've known him. And about 6 months ago, something like that, I called him up to talk to him. I needed a friend to talk to about some health things my wife is going through and I'm going through. We have this long discussion about what's going on. You know, he gives me his, you know, his empathy and his sympathy and all that stuff, and he does a lot of listening, or so I thought. And like a month or so ago, I mentioned it to him again. And he says, "Oh, is your wife sick?" And I just sat back, you know, it was a text message, and I'm like, has she been sick? And I'm thinking, is this the same guy I talked to? I mean, this is a guy that knows me personally. He knows everything about me, everything. And I'm like, I'm thinking, is he, you know, I'm almost 60. He's the same age as I am. Is he losing his marbles? Is he getting Alzheimer's or something? I don't know. So fast forward to this a few months ago, I go to visit with a friend, and we spend the night. We have pizza. We hang out with his girlfriend. He and I and his girlfriend, we're talking. I'm talking mostly to his girlfriend because he's you know, talking to other people in the bar, and she and I are talking about job searching and how hard it's been for me to find a job. And she's like, oh man, don't worry about it. I work in HR. I'll find you a job. I can get you a job in anything. It doesn't matter if you live here or there. I can do it for you. Just, you know, contact me. We'll get together tomorrow for breakfast. We'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll exchange information, yada, yada, yada. So we have a great time. Wonderful lady. My friend and I are having a great time. Morning comes. I pull into the restaurant. We're all supposed to meet for breakfast. And my friend says, oh, no, Sally, whatever her name was. I don't know where she is. She just, sometimes she doesn't answer her phone. And I don't know where she is. And I'm like, what? You know, she was going to be here, and, you know, we're going to talk about looking for work. He goes, oh, gee, Willikers, geez, I don't know. I've tried to call her, and she's just not answering. I go, that's kind of weird. So he and I go inside, and we have breakfast. Have a nice breakfast, and I'm telling him about my health. I have health conditions, and he's asking me about my health conditions. And I've known this guy for close to the same amount of time, close to 40 years. And I'm telling him, yeah, I've got this health condition. I have problems with my prostate, and I can't pee, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, that really sucks, man. You better do something about it, because that's pretty much, you know, a bad thing, and it can kill you, and you've got to do something about it. And I'm like going on and on about what my options are, that I'm thinking about getting an operation, which I'm actually getting an operation in June. And I tell him this. I said, I'm going to get this operation in June. And I've had the surgery scheduled for months because the guy's so booked in advance. So a couple days ago, we're texting, we're talking, and I'll mention that, you know, I'm still struggling with this thing. And he goes, oh, have you been sick? I'm like, yeah. He's like, what? What's wrong? I'm like, dude, we just had this conversation a couple of months ago. I told you all about it. He's, oh, gee willikers, man. Gee willikers, I forgot all about that, man. I've got other things I'm thinking about. I'm like, you know, what is going on here? What happened to everybody? So I've got another friend. There's a friend of mine that we were going to do a documentary together. This is a person that I know pretty well. We've been talking now for probably December, January, March, April, 6 months. We've gone into pre-production meetings, exactly what her story is going to be, how we're going to handle it, the whole thing, where we're going to shoot it. We've been talking about this in Zoom calls and in text messages and phone calls, you name it. Deep, deep production talks. She's all into it. She says we'll get started in the spring. I'm like, great. Well, today is May 27th, I believe. Spring has come and gone, and I have not heard from her. And I've texted her, and I've written to her, and I've contacted her, and she's not responded. And I know she's still alive because I've seen her make posts on Facebook, and she's texted me with these really weird texts that don't have anything to do with our documentary. And for those of you who don't know, I've made a couple documentaries. I've attempted to make a couple others that have fallen through. But so she's completely ghosted me. This is somebody I really respect, and this is somebody I really like. this is somebody that I really look up to and look to her opinion for things, and I'm very puzzled. It's almost as if, I don't know if she's sick. I don't know if she's dying. I don't know if her kids are dying, or she's moved, or she's gone to the moon. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. And I can go on and on with stories. And it's just not just people I know. I mean, strangers that you see on the street, people you see driving by. A guy today was really furious. I was heading southbound on a 2-lane road. He was going northbound. He happened to be behind an Amazon truck that was stopped delivering packages. One of those big battery-powered Amazon trucks. And I was just about maybe 200 feet from the truck, and this guy guns it like he's Mario Andretti, and almost hits me head on because he's so frustrated he's behind the damn Amazon truck. And he doesn't hit me, he gets past, but you can tell it's a young kid in like a souped up Honda, and he doesn't have any patience because he was raised by mentally inadequate adults who decided to have sex one night after they had a couple of shots of tequila and a few bong hits, and they didn't know that sex makes babies. They forgot that part of the fun time. And so I'm approaching the intersection of Columbia Road and Sprague, and I've got a green arrow to turn left. And just as I'm about to turn left, fortunately, I look for red light. I know it's called people blowing through red lights. And this guy just almost smashes into me, almost T-boned me to the right side, blowing right through a red light. And as I'm driving home, and I'm going east on Sprague, there's a lady coming towards me on a 2-lane road. Sprague is a 2-lane road. And she crosses the double line because she's texting. She's like, oh, And it's as if everybody's just throwing caution to the wind, lost their mind. They don't care. I don't know what it is. And it's gotten to a point where it's almost, if I could stand up on a platform with a camera and a microphone and just film this and document the weirdness of our society right now. And it's all walks of life. It's not just, I live in a white community, but I've seen all kinds of people doing strange things, all kinds of people. People dressed in all various weird kind of dress. In the store, you go into Costco, you see grown men in pajamas and slippers with a flannel shirt and, a do-rag on. Without a care about how they look, without a care about, hey, this is how you dress now. You just dress like a slob. And I'm genuinely perplexed by it. My friend's ex-husband is a 62-year-old man. This is a guy my age. And he has a purple mohawk. This is a grown man who's not in a punk band. He's not going into mosh pits. Those days are long since past. Those days have long since passed. This is a guy who has convinced both of his kids that the end times are near, that Armageddon is coming, and they've got to get a go bag together. Now, I don't know about you guys. Right now, if I had a go bag, right, with food and MREs and a first aid kit, and I had my guns and some ammunition, where am I going to go? Where's this guy going to go? If right now, if the Mexican drug cartel have sleeper cells in this country, and they just happen to pop up from the sewers with AK-47s and they start shooting everybody, where are we going to go? There's nowhere to run. There's nowhere that we're going to go to Canada. Are we going to get in a boat and go to England where they're being invaded by illegals? Where are these people going to go with their their go bags, with their gunny sacks and their rifles? Has everybody lost their mind? Do you know what will happen if there are sleeper cells in this country that start blowing things up, start shooting everybody? Do you know what will happen? Most of your average American will fall apart. We're already falling apart. We're already mentally just turning to mush. And there's men and women out there that have seen war. There's still a couple World War II vets out there. There's a lot of Vietnam War vets. There's a couple Korean War vets, and there's a whole lot of Afghan and Iraq vets. And they'll tell you, if they're willing to talk about it, that war is nothing like you think it is. And once the bullets start flying and the bombs start exploding, a lot of people, even the trained men and women that have been through boot camp and have been to war, lose their shit, man. Can you imagine what an average person like me or you would go through if our country had a war on its land? The average person couldn't take it. So what are we going to do with our go bag and our rifles? Where are we going to go? We're an armed militia, but we're not trained. Nobody has the wherewithal or the mental strength to stand up against an adversary, whether it's guerrilla warfare or an organized military that comes upon our shores. Most of us have guns, but most of us, myself included, I don't know what would happen to me. What I know about me is when I go to the gun range and every lane is filled with guys and gals with rifles and shotguns and handguns, it's loud. Even with my earmuffs on, it's loud and it's nerve-wracking. Just in that controlled environment, you know, it's very loud because it echoes off the walls, but you're also dealing with a lot of people, civilians that are untrained. The one place I go to, about like 3 people came into one, I don't know what you call them, stalls, where you go and shoot at the targets. And some lady accidentally discharged not her rifle, but her handgun, her 9mm. It was an accident, and she shot her like her husband or her son in the leg. Hit an artery, and the whole fucking, world exploded. I wasn't there when it happened. It was on the news. And this is a really big gun range here in Cleveland. Big, big, big. It's well organized. They're very professional. I've been there a bunch. And this is just a lady with a 9mm at a gun range. Can you imagine if she's in her living room and there's a bunch of, Mexican drug cartels storming down her street? Oh my God. I can tell you this, she wouldn't shoot anybody who's coming through the front yard. She wouldn't even know what to do with the gun. She'd shit herself. She would crap her pants. I'm not saying I wouldn't. Because life isn't like some John Wayne movie. It's not like some Tom Cruise movie. It's not. And the guys and gals that have been to war will tell you that you don't know how you're gonna act when the shit hits the fan. But I'm confused. Did something happen? Did I miss a memo? Did I not get the email that you're supposed to stop thinking, Pete, and just become a drooling idiot? You're just supposed to tune into the YouTube channel and look at your Facebook and jerk your gherkin and just have fun and shoot smack in your arm and all that stuff. Did I miss the memo? Did I miss the memo where people just have become brain dead and they can't remember vital information you tell them about your personal, intimate part of your life? Granted, I know they're going through things too. We're all going through something. When you get to a certain age, okay, this is what happens. If you're younger and you watch, I'm going to be honest, this is something they don't tell you when you're a kid. When you get older, people start to get sick and people die. Now, when you're a kid, you see it from a distance, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. My aunt just died. I remember when my grandfather died, my dad's dad. He was 82. He died of diabetes and prostate cancer. And he's laying in the casket in a funeral home, looking all waxy. And I remember we're in this funeral home with about 50 people showed up, and most of them were elderly because my grandfather was elderly, and I believe I was in 7th grade. So this is like 1977? Maybe I was in 6th grade, something around there. And I remember all these old people just look very stoic. Now, granted, most of these guys are older than World War II vets. These guys are like in their 80s, gals and guys, friends and acquaintances of my grandfather, and nobody was crying. My dad didn't cry. I only saw my dad cry once, and that's when the actor Bob Crane died from Hogan's Heroes, the guy that played Hogan in Hogan's Heroes. My dad sobbed like a baby, and I don't know why. Bob Crane was in the Army Air Corps, just like my dad was in World War II. I don't know if they knew each other. I don't know if they had a hookup, you know. I think my dad was a bit of a player of some sort. I don't know. But he cried. It's the only time I ever saw the man cry. I don't know what that was about. But all these old people are just very stoic. They're just sitting there looking solemn. And I didn't know why when I was a kid, but I found out why as almost a 60-year-old man, is that they look somber because they know their number's going to be called pretty soon. They know their days are numbered. And it's a sobering reminder when you see your friend die that your days are numbered. And when you get older, people start getting sick and their minds start to go, their bodies start to go, and people die. A guy I knew from high school, a really nice guy, I'd known him since 4th grade, a guy named Matt. I didn't know him really well, but I always knew he was a really nice guy. He was a friendly guy, a really funny guy. And I'd say about 8 years ago, in his early 50s, he went in for a procedure at a local hospital. I don't know what the procedure was, but he coded on the table and they couldn't bring him back. Now I know he had some issues. I know he had diabetes. I know when I saw him in college, the last time I saw him in college, he smoked, but I don't know if he still smoked. But he died unexpectedly. And it's very sad because he was a wonderful guy who, though I hadn't seen him since college in probably 40 years, he still spoke to me on Facebook and we always had pleasant conversations. And another friend of mine that I had known since kindergarten, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, I heard he died. I don't know why he died or how he died. There was a rumor that he killed himself. But my point is, as you get older, people succumb to the pressure of life. People succumb to illnesses. People succumb to a lot of things, and they go to the great beyond, or they're no longer the same. But I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about people just they seem despondent. They seem, I don't even know what the word is. They seem like they've changed. Like somebody came in the middle of the night and took their mind out and replaced it with a zombie. And I don't mean like a real zombie, like in Dawn of the Dead or anything like that, but I really mean people have changed to such an extent where you can't even understand what happened to them. And is it this device? Is it the thing I'm talking to you on? Is it the internet? Do they broadcast something into our brains now from the 5G network that's all around us that they put up during COVID magically? There's all these 5G towers around us now. Since COVID, this whole area, it never used to have cell towers. Now it's bristling with cell phone towers in every direction and 5G towers. I don't know what it is. And it's peculiar and it's weird. And I don't know if maybe it's me. Maybe I've lost my mind. Maybe you guys don't see it. Maybe I'm the one person in the whole world that sees it, but I know I'm not. I've seen other people talk about this on the internet. There's so many things on YouTube that don't make any sense to me. There are guys just like me, my same age, with similar vocabulary, similar attitudes, similar stories, similar narrations and narratives and topics that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Their teeth might be a little bit straighter, their hair might be a little bit better, but somehow these people got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And I find that confusing and perplexing, because it's almost like a lot of these people are there and they're pushed by the machine on purpose. They're pushed by the machine on purpose. They're plants or they're ringers. They're people that are put there by whoever runs the show out there. There's a lot of them. And there's a lot of people that we all believed in, that we watched. I used to watch Dan Bongino like crazy. And I believed in him because he was a former Secret Service agent. But then all of a sudden he became, what is he, assistant director to the FBI now? And I knew the minute they got him in there, they either did it because he was already part of the game, or they wanted to control him. And the other day he comes on and says, oh yeah, definitely, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in prison. We looked at the report and he killed himself. Okay, sure, Dan. I told you all along, I thought Dan, for a while, I believed in Dan, but I also thought he might be a CIA plant. A lot of these people are. You don't believe it, but most of us guys with the tinfoil hats, we can take those hats off now, because everything we have said has been proven factual, including the Jabberwocky and the Nasty Wasty Bug. I don't know what's next. And I'm trying to figure out a way to think of a solution for each of us, because most of the people like Mr. Bongino and I can't think of the British guy that's being investigated again for like sexual battery or something in England. He's got long hair. The poor guy, I don't believe, I think they're going after him because he's another one of the big truth people. But they never give a solution. They never tell you what to do. They never tell you how to navigate these murky waters and get back on shore to where it's safe. My thought is, I still have a TikTok account, but I don't look at it anymore. I have Instagram, I have a Twitter, but I'm never on there anymore. They're useless platforms. I can't stand them. But I think the number one thing we've got to do is, and I know many of you won't understand this if you're not old enough, but try to live like it's 1975 again. Turn off all of this shit. Turn off YouTube, turn off Facebook, delete your accounts. So what if your Aunt Millie doesn't hear from you every day on Facebook, okay? Chances are your Aunt Millie doesn't remember who you are half the time anyway. I'm finding that out. People don't remember anything, just like I told you. Start getting back to your roots. Try to get reconnected with your family. I've been trying to do this with my brother and my sister. I don't know how successful I've been, but I've been trying in my own way to reach out to each of them, because we haven't spoken to each other for about 13 years. And as I said, life is very short. And I don't know how much time I got left. And neither do any of you. But I think we've got to get back to each other, because all we have in this earth is each other. And my message to each of you would be to step back from this world of technology that we live in, the AI, the bots, the YouTubes, the Facebooks. Turn them off and start to reflect on your life, regardless of how old you are. Now, I know if you're young, I was young once, believe it or not, I was a kid once. And I wouldn't listen to anything. I wouldn't listen to my mother especially. She told me about all the dirtbag friends I was hanging out with, that they were users, to not hang out with them. She told me about some of the women I was hanging out with were just, looking for a husband. I didn't know what that meant. Fortunately, I didn't marry any of them. But when you're young, you don't have the ability to listen to authority because you think you know everything. And I'm telling you right now, 99% of you under the age of like 27 don't know your ass from a sack of potatoes. You don't. And I didn't. Fortunately, I just, through dumb luck, I got through a lot of the mess without making a lot of bad choices. I still made some bad choices on my own, but I wouldn't listen to my mother. I despised her at times. We'd get in these huge fights because she would put down my friends and girlfriends, and I'd get all resentful and angry. She kicks the bucket, and 33 years later, I find out that almost everything she said was completely accurate because she knew about life. She had been kicked in the teeth by life, and she had seen people betray her. But when you're young, you don't know. But I'm asking you, I'm nobody. I'm just a bald 59-year-old guy who's got a gut and a bad prostate. And I'm asking you to just try to step back and listen. Listen to your heart. I'm not even going to say to follow your dreams because that's hokey bullshit. I followed my dreams. 15 years ago, I quit my job with the approval of my wife. We had a big discussion because I was going to be an artist. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't what you think it is. And I don't care how good you are or how bad you are. It ain't what you think it is. And you can devote every single waking hour to being an artist. And it's not the romantic love affair that you think it's going to be. So don't follow your heart, but listen to your heart. Listen to what you feel is right. Listen to your instincts. If you're hanging out with people that you feel, you know in your gut, you don't want to be around them anymore, find a way out. If you're dating somebody you think is not really for you, walk away. There's nothing wrong with being alone. That being said, get connected with the people who matter to you. Get reconnected with people who you care about. I don't care what your faith is. I don't care if you worship a pillow. Go to church and try to get reacquainted with your culture, with the people around you. I'm not a big advocate for church, but maybe not church, maybe join a group of photographers if you're a photographer, or go out and become in a bird watching group. Get reacquainted with society. Because all we have is each other, and if you've noticed, the one thing that they've actually done is they've driven a wedge between all of us. They've driven a huge wedge between each and every one of us. They've done it with social media, and with the nasty wasty bug, and with Jabberwockies, and with politics. And now we've got people hating each other because you support one candidate versus the other. This is not by accident, fellas. This is by design, because if they keep us divided, they keep us weak. And if they keep us weak, they can manipulate us and they can scare us. Turn off the news. Stop watching the national news. Stop watching the local news. We still watch the local news, and I can't stand it. Every 6 months, Channel 3, the NBC affiliate that we watch, changes their format. They change their set. They change their colors. Now their new format is pound the viewers in the head for 10 minutes with death and destruction, death and destruction, death and destruction. Murders, rapes, court scenes, weather, crashes, up until 10 minutes after the hour. From 6 to 6:10, it's all they talk about. Then they bring on Betsy with the weather, who uses these $10 words to describe the weather to tell us it's going to rain. Turn it off. Turn it all off. It's ruining our society. It's ruining our families. It's ruining our culture. And believe it or not, FOMO, or fear of missing out, was a thing years and years ago. It was something before there was an internet. When I was growing up, you get out of college and you think you're all that in a bag of chips, because they tell you in high school you're going to miss out on life unless you get a college degree. So you have this fear of missing out instilled in your head, because they tell you that college is the magic key. It's the way to survive in this world. And so you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I better go to college, you better go to college. So they fill your head with fear. You go to college, and after my sophomore year, I realized I knew then that college was a big, giant, steaming pile of crap. And I was well into my junior year when I changed my degree because I figured an art degree wasn't going to do me any good. Well, it turns out my degree, it didn't matter which degree I picked, either one was worthless. I probably would have been better off with an art degree because I could have at least become an art teacher, but I still could have gotten laid off from that. There's probably a better chance of getting laid off as an art teacher, but today you can get laid off if you're picking your nose, for a living. But FOMO is something they've instilled in your head because once you graduate from college, you think, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on this great job. They're going to hand me all kinds of money. And then you start seeing your friends getting married. All your friends are getting married. And I was like, oh my God, I'm missing out on something. I'm missing out on marriage. Oh my God, they're having kids. Oh my God, they've got houses and cars and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And you're like, oh my God, I'm missing out. I'm missing out on all the fun of marriage. And then I didn't get married till I was 38. And it's the only, I've been married to my wife for 21 years. And as the years went by, when I was still single, I saw people starting to get divorced. Like, oh, that's interesting. I had a friend of mine that was married for about 10 years, and then his wife left him. He was really distraught. He was suicidal and all this shit. And then he got remarried like about 5 years later. And I've got ex-girlfriends that have been married 4 or 5 times. So on and so forth. I got engaged once. But anyway, they put in your head, oh my God, you've got to get married. And my friend Brian and I were roughly the same age. And we both were like, oh my God, everyone's getting married. They're going to start thinking we're gay because we're not married yet. They're going to think there's something wrong with us. And we were serious because, we were always hanging out. We weren't gay. I'm not gay. As far as I know, he's not. Brian, if you're watching, I don't care if you are or not, but I don't think you are. But anyway, we had this fear. So this FOMO thing has been magnified with Facebook, because now Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and all of them, all the platforms, they make it look like everybody's having this great life. They try to make it look like everybody's just out there partying and drinking Corona on some Caribbean beach, and they look great, and they've got a gorgeous spouse, and they've got gorgeous kids, and they got the golden retriever, and they've always got the cute young ladies that are living in a van somewhere in a tropical island that's driving across the country, and they've moved to the Philippines to just dip their toes in the waters of the Philippines, and they're having fun, and they're just, oh, look, Sven, come, bring me another drink. Guys, that is such horseshit. Now think about this. Now think about what a lot of these people, including Bob Wells on Cheap RV Living, okay? He always interviews these people. He's a YouTuber on here that lives out of a Subaru Forester. He used to live in an old ambulance. Now he lives in a Subaru Forester. I'm guessing he's probably 65 to 70 years old. Nice guy. I like his channel. But I've thought about this. Okay, I could live in my car if I had to. All right, I could. But there's too many variables, too many things that could go wrong when you're living in your car. Number one, if your car breaks down, then what? If you don't have any money to begin with, and you're out in the street living in your car, and your car breaks down in the middle of like Albuquerque, what are you going to do? Where are you going to crap and pee? And Bob Wells will say, well, just get a 5-gallon bucket and put a little lid on it and just poop and pee in there. Okay. So you're driving down the road and you're sleeping in your car. In the middle of the night, you get the runs and you got to poop in this bucket. Now, I have a hard time. As you get older, your body changes. And I can't do some of this stuff sitting down. I can't stand up. I can't sit down and take a leak. So I have to stand up. So that would mean that if I'm in the middle of Albuquerque at some, I don't know, some RV park with my Subaru, I got to step outside my car and stand up to pee because I've got issues. So you're trying to tell me that all these people that are like 60, 70 years old driving around the southwest United States are just living it up, drinking champagne with their golden retriever in the front seat. And when they got to take a leak, they got to find some place to hide to stand up and pee? The logistics of it don't make any sense, and it doesn't look like fun to me. You know? It just doesn't look like fun. Give me my house and a soft bed and my TV set and a couple of guitars and a camera, and I'm fine. Put me out in a car in the middle of the wintertime, you know, or in the hot sun in the southwest. Have they really convinced you all that that is the way to live? I guess if you're young and you're beautiful and you're sexy, I guess that's what some of these people are doing. They're just living it up. They're portraying it like they're just having a great time. There's a few people on here that tell the truth about that stuff, but my point is the fear of missing out. Now on YouTube, they make it look like you're not having fun unless you're living in your car. You're not having fun unless you move to the Philippines. You can't have fun in America unless you move to Indonesia. All these people are like, oh, it's so great here, it's so great here. And they show their apartment. It looks like some rat-infested little shoebox with rice paper curtains and like an old lead water faucet in the sink. Oh yeah, that's living it up. But they portray it like, hey, we're living it up, everybody. We're having a good time. This is life. Social media is destroying us. Get rid of social media. I'm hardly on here anymore, if you've noticed. I'm really done with YouTube. I do this because, number one, YouTube cut my monetization in half. So I say this to YouTube. I'm done with it. I don't monetize I'm going sans monetization now. I don't care about it. I wasn't bringing enough money in to make a difference. It was paying for maybe a tank of gas a month. And that's something I have people in my head from my family say, well, it's better than nothing. No, do you know how much work I put in this channel? The editing and the stories and the scripts and the lights and the cameras and all of it, the microphones. It's a waste of time. So I'm pretty much done with this. I only watch a half an hour news a night. I watch, TV at night after my wife goes to bed. So we've got to figure out some way to pull ourselves out of the retractor beam of social media, to put down the glowing Christ in our hands and just be together again. They don't want us together. The enemy to them is us being one. The internet brought the world together, and they weren't expecting that. And when they saw the influence that the internet is having on bringing people together from different continents, they went, oh no, wait, we didn't think about that. People are disseminating information about the atrocities going on in different countries and finding out the truth and the facts outside of what the media is telling people. And they're like, oh my God, what do we do now? People are figuring out that we're all full of it. But it's like something's taken over. And it's here in America. If you're not from America, it's probably similar in the United Kingdom. I know a lot of you watch me from Australia and the United Kingdom. They package things here to make it look all nice and pretty. They put a bow on it and they wrap it up in pretty wrapping paper. For instance, my whole life they told us that America was founded off of great principles. We were founded by great founding fathers that were just good Joes, just good guys, And then when you're a kid, they tell you all this great stuff. They don't tell you. They sweep all this other stuff under the rug about slavery and about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. These guys are all dirtbags. And I know right now there's those of you that are American, oh my God, he called Abraham Lincoln a dirtbag. Well, did you know, I'm watching this show tonight with my wife on the History Channel with Kevin Costner, talking about the truth of the slaughter of millions of Native Americans in the western United States. And some of it was instigated by Abraham Lincoln. I didn't know that. You know, these men that run these countries that came here, our country is founded, our foundation is built upon the slaughter of indigenous people that once inhabited these lands. The very land I'm on right now, here in Ohio. Our country is based upon lies, lies upon lies upon lies. But if you say that to anybody out there who's really pro-American, like, oh my God, he must be a communist. No, look at the history. Look at our history. Every single president is a liar. They were all dirtbags, slave owners, abusive slave owners of true African people that came to this country on a slave ship. And yet they say we're the land of the free. It's all based off of hypocrisy and lies. And people are starting to wake up to it. People are going, oh, maybe it's not what we thought it was. Maybe the government did lie to us. Maybe the nasty wasty bug was a lie. Maybe the Jabberwocky is making people sick. Maybe tinfoil hat people aren't really conspiracy theorists. Maybe they're factual theorists. And see, they weren't expecting us to find all this stuff out. They weren't expecting it. They didn't want us to know. They didn't want us to be smart. But I'm telling you, this is what I think is happening, okay? To conclude this today, I think there's a lot of people, the majority of people in the United States culture are seeing the writing on the wall. They're seeing the lies. They're seeing that no matter who we put in the office, whether it's the current dude or the previous dude or the previous dude, that they're all placed into those positions and they all lie to us. And the current guy, I'm not going to name his name because I'll probably get banned. He's already lied, and he's not doing what he said he would do. And he said he's going to trim the budget, right? Well, he took the money and cut all this money and funding in offices, and he took the money and gave it to the Pentagon. Like what? We already have 1,000 bases around the world. Isn't that enough? But I think what's happened is people are seeing the writing on the wall. People are finding out they've been lied to. People have discovered on their own, through the use of the internet, through the use of social media, that people around the world are being abused and taken advantage of and hurt. Jobs are being taken away. Wages are being cut. Food and the cost of living is going through the roof. And people are like, this is all a lie, isn't it? And I think most people can't handle it. I think a lot of people are mentally breaking down. I think a lot of people can't handle it. They're just not, they're not able to handle it. They can't stand the fact that their country, this country especially, people here go, what? What? Thomas Jefferson abused his slaves? What? We killed millions of indigenous people? What? I never heard of that before. You've got to be crazy. What? They may have given us a Jabberwocky that created blood clots and killed millions of people worldwide. No. And the cognitive dissonance is destroying people's minds, their outlook on life, their outlook on everyday. Well, people don't want to work anymore. Who wants to work? These major corporations we work for are evil, insidious places run by predominantly men that have billions of dollars in the bank, and they don't give a shit about you and me. And people are waking up to it, and they can't handle it. They're losing their fucking minds is what's happening. The invasion of the body snatchers is a combination of cultural, social things, corporate things, political things that people are waking up to, and they're seeing it. And they're like, oh my God, it's kind of like if you woke up and you thought your dad was this great guy. You know, can you imagine? My dad was not a great guy. But can you imagine if you thought your dad was a great guy? If you thought he was like this amazing guy that would never hurt you or hurt your mom or hurt your siblings, and he was going to work every day, but you opened up the newspaper one day, you turned on the TV and you found out he's a mass murderer. And you went, oh my God, Dad was out killing people when he's supposed to be at work? You would fucking lose it, man, if you found out your dad was a mass murderer. And that's what it's like in this country. You wake up and you go, oh my God, it's all a lie. It's all a lie. And I don't think people can handle it. It's hard. It's really hard to stay sober in this culture. It's really hard to not numb yourself in whatever way you numb yourself. It's really hard. I speak from experience. And I think that's what happened. And I think they like it. I think whoever runs the show, because we've got them all on the ropes, they're getting beat to pulp. Let's go in for the kill now, and they'll probably come up with another pandemic, or they'll say that we're being invaded by, from space. We'll have holographic images. They've got most of you convinced that you've got to go out and buy an electric car to save the Earth. But those cars cost like $80,000. I'm sorry, I don't have $80,000 to buy an electric Tesla, or whatever they cost. These ugly cars that he makes. I'm not against Tesla or what's his name, but his cars, some of his cars are hideous. Those trucks he makes are just nasty, ugly things. But, you know, I don't know if it'll fix things, but I would say, you know, log off from me, whatever you want to do. I don't care. I used to have a dream of being a rock star when I was a kid. I was going to be like one of the Beatles. Well, that never happened, and it's not going to happen now. I have no problems with it not happening now. But there was a time where I thought I had a chance at it. And I tell you, I've known lots of people, lots of guys, and women, who had the same dream, who were more talented than me, better looking than me, and got nowhere. There are certain people that are hand-selected to be in that scene, that have connections, that have the inside scoop, or they're able to suck golf balls through hoses, that made it. Or they appear to have made it. That's a whole nother thing. But it's time. It's time that we took our lives back. And if we can take our lives back and bring our families back together and get back to the roots of being human, we can defeat the people that are trying to control us. We can defeat every single one of them without firing a shot. We can have a revolution in this country by being decent to each other, turning off all of this electronic crap, and going back to being with each other. Because if we don't, we're screwed.